Thompson's there, Billy in. A goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to The Drive-In, the match preview show that enthusiastically chats to you from the passenger seat as you stick the car in eco mode as you make your way down to Devon for Saturday's match between Exeter City and Huddersfield Town. My partner in crime, Ian Kilroy-Silk, in the box seat as usual, and we'll look at the likely permutations for this weekend's clash. So, last time out, Huddersfield Town rather embarrassed themselves down at St James's Park in April as a strikerless Exeter scored 3 times in a 3-1 win. The victory was Exeter's first in 4 games and the first time they'd scored 3 or more goals in 24 league games, and it was all done without a striker. Huddersfield themselves haven't been faring particularly well on the road, with 9 defeats in their last 10 games, stretching into last season. Can Lee Grant find a cure for travel sickness? We will see. So what of our opponents? I had a quick chat early today with Brad Theobald and Exeter City's Exeter City to each other. Hi, Brad. Thanks for coming on to the podcast. So Exeter City, so you guys were tipped by quite a few to maybe struggle this season, but you find yourselves currently in 16th. What is the aim for this season for you as a fan, and what do you hope Exeter can achieve?
Hello, mate. Nice to be on the pod. Exeter City's aim this season really is to stay up. A lot of bookies, a lot of people were saying that we're one of the favourites to go down. Yes, we are one of the favourites to go down. But just staying up. This is our 4th consecutive season in League One. So I'm quite happy to finish 20th. And that'll be a successful season.
So Exeter have found themselves on a 4-game losing streak at the moment. Is this something to be worried about for you guys, or do you think there's a little bit more to it? Because recently you've played both Cardiff and Stevenage, who are both top sides, and you've only lost by a goal. So is it just a case of a tough run of games, or is there something a little bit more to that?
The 4-game losing streak at the moment isn't really a worry. There is a lot of things going on behind the scenes at the club at the moment. I think the Virtue Trophy against Cardiff, we were very, very unlucky. We had a goal ruled offside in the last kick of the game. Stevenage, that was the first goal they've conceded at home all season. We did not deserve to lose the game. Maybe on another day we could have snatched all 3 points. But I think the table doesn't really go with the performances. Yes, some performances have been bad this season, but there's nothing to worry about.
So going into this match against Huddersfield down there, you guys beat us quite convincingly down there just a couple of months ago. It's all changed for Huddersfield now, so it's almost a completely different side, and you've had some changes as well. Just talk us through who the key players are for Exeter now and who you hope can really get at us and cause us some difficulties.
Yes, I was at the game back in April when we beat you 3-1 at SJP. Quite convincing result near the end, but I think the team you put out, I think you were, because you weren't in the playoff picture, I think it was just a free shot for you guys. We have Joe Whitworth back in goal. He was on the season-long loan last season from Crystal Palace, so he's back in between the sticks. In the midfield, we have Ethan Brearley, who is Brentford B's captain. Very, very good prospect next to Jake Doyle-Hayes, who we got from Steelgill Rovers. And up top, we have Josh McGuinness, who everyone kind of knows about. 35 Northern Ireland international, trying to get back into the squad. And alongside him, we have Jaden Wareham, who we got from Reading. We got Reece Colwell in midfield. He's just come back for a knee injury, which kept him out for a couple of months. So he'll be our attacking number 10, who's from dead ball situations. He's fantastic. If it's a free kick or a corner, he'll put it on the money, hopefully on someone's head, and get a goal.
There should be a decent contingent of Huddersfield fans making their way down to Exeter. And Exeter's a great city, a really nice place to visit. But for those who are going for the first time, just tell us about what they can do, because a lot of town fans will make a weekend of it. So what can they do over the course of the weekend, or maybe just for the day? And what's great about Exeter as a place?
Thank you very much for saying Exeter's a great place. It is. Devon has the sunshine. So that's one thing you can do whilst you're here in the southwest. You can go to a beach 10, 15, 20 miles down the road. You have Exmouth, you have Dawlish, Warren, Teignmouth, Paignton, and then all the way down to Torquay. You have the North Devon. But if you want to stay in Exeter itself, you got the Exeter Quay. Very, very historic, very lovely to walk along the river. You got pubs, restaurants. If you got little ones, there's park down there. You got the Tenpin bowling. If you're looking more into the city, you got the Exeter Cathedral, which is a very, very lovely spot. And then you got all the shops. If you want to do a little bit of shopping.
Okay, so I'll put you on the spot. Tell me something about Exeter City that only an Exeter City fan would know. Something that would interest us.
Okay, here's a fun fact about Exeter City, which a lot of football fans will not know. Brazil's first ever competitive game was against Exeter City in 1914. So we have a little chant which goes, have you ever played Brazil? So in 2014, for the 100th anniversary, we had the full squad went to Brazil and played a match against 3 teams in Brazil, which was absolutely fantastic.
So, Brad, thank you for coming onto the show. All the best for you and the Exeter for the rest of the season. But just before you go, give us a prediction and how you see this game playing out.
Lovely. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on the pod. If we can cut out the silly mistakes at the back and we can get to at least 20 minutes without conceding a goal, we'll grow more and more into the game. I want to go for a 2-1 Exeter City win. Get 3 points. I know you guys played last night against Manchester City, so you might be a little bit fatigued by the time you travel down to Devon on Friday, ready for the game on Saturday. All the best. Thank you very much. Hope Huddersfield have a great season.
Okay, Killer. Brad and I discussed that Exeter have lost 4 in a row, but similar to Burton last week, that little anomaly looks like it could have been a different story. And Exeter are quite competitive, aren't they, so far this season?
Yeah, do you know what though, Matt? I'm sick of doing previews with Exeter. I feel like every second game's Exeter at the moment. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Like say, I went over it before with your wonderful talk about what the Grecians meant. And if I remember, Matt, it was something to do with a role playing. They had a role play army fight or something, and it was something from that.
Nothing to do with hair colour, sadly, for me.
That was it. No, Exeter, they're a strange team. They lost quite a few players that we'll go through over the summer, and their budget isn't massive at all. And listening to Caldwell's pre-match press conference for Town, he's talking about the golfing budget again, which I'll be honest, it's a bit copy and pasting. Every time I listen to anybody we're facing this season in the, do you know what? It's going to might make Darren Moore's quite exciting by the time we get to that. But know that they're 16th at the moment in the table. They've, if you look at how many goals they've scored and conceded, they're thinking, well, they've only conceded 1 more than us, so they're not that bad at the back, and they've scored quite a few. The problem they have with it, the problem Exeter have is they've scored 7 goals in 2 games, and in the other 7 games they've only scored 3 times. They're a very hit and miss team because of the way they play football, which is very, very passy. They've got small players, and that's something Caldwell spoke about after the defeat against Port Vale recently. Unfortunately, I had to sit through 25 minutes of that on the extended highlights because Exeter put nothing out when it comes to their own games. They put 2 minutes, whereas Port Vale, because they had a good result, put 25 minutes in. honestly, Darren Moore must have taken over the Port Vale highlights at this stage. But they play passy football. They've got very small players. They press from the back, from the front still as well. But there's such a mismatch because they're only as effective as the matchup is. They try and play football the right way. They're yet to draw this year at all, which shows you that the boom or bust. But the form hasn't been great. And like you say, Matt, 4 defeats in a row, one being a cup game, but the 3 games they have won this season as well have not been fantastic in that they've beaten Blackpool, who, when they faced them, I think second game of the season, were a basket case and hadn't had Charity FC turn up just yet. Wickham, who again are going through very much a year of transition, having lost pretty much everybody before Duff joined and suddenly got them a couple of wins in a row. And Peterborough as well, Matt, whereas they've lost to Donny, Mansfield, Northampton, Rotherham, Port Vale and Stevenage. So while Stevenage is a good outfit there, they've not really had the toughest of fixtures either. I think when we look at this back in May, Exeter will be down at the bottom. I find it hard to see a way out for them, considering how they've started and how they're playing and the makeup of the team. And I think it's a good game for us to go into on looking at their form and our form. I think this one is at the right time for us, which is a change, Matt, for the driving, because I think for the last few we've been talking about how it's been a bit of a mismatch for the wrong reasons, where this one is for the right ones.
Well, let's match them up, Killer. So as we head over to our tactics board, so Huddersfield Town and Exeter. So we'll go through Town first. Town injuries. It's been the bane of our life for 3 years now. There's something just not right, is there? Because it's basically new staff, it's new players, it's new managers. Whoever's there. Town just seems to get injuries. Look, every football club gets injuries, but Huddersfield Town's injuries over the last 3 years have been completely disproportionate to everyone else in the EFL. You can look back in, the rubbish I write, and Huddersfield's injuries were just abysmal last season. It was, I think we'd had more players injured than about 70% of EFL clubs had used players or something stupid like that. It was beyond funny at this point. And then when you hear Will Alves is going to be out for a few months, Herbie Kane's going to be out for a few months, you just think it's happening again. It's just, and Lee Grant describes Will Alves' injury as a freak accident, rather than so when people are going on about blaming the physios for this, I mean, how can you blame a physio for something that hasn't happened yet? Do you know, it's I mean, a little bit crazy, shall we say, online. But it just seems to be bad luck. It's a run of bad luck, isn't it? I don't think anybody's done anything particular wrong. Herbie Kane's caused by him trying to foul a Bradford player. These are the things that you can't really account for. It's frustrating, and thankfully Kevin Nagel spent a lot of money, so we've got a squad that can cover for it. So let's look into what the team's going to be. Let's be a bit more upbeat, Killer. In goal, I think Lee Nichols has got to keep his place. I know Goodman's back from suspension, but I think Lee Nichols has generally been very good the last 3 or 4 games. I think it took him a little while to get a little rhythm going, and the thing is with goalkeepers, and in our WhatsApp group, Neil's so against any form of squad rotation, isn't he? In there, I don't think he listens, so he won't mind me saying. But he's very much of the opinion, and it's a good opinion, that you need to stick with a team and to get them going in the right direction, to build up a head of steam, to build up momentum, to build up understanding. I think Lee Nichols has earned his place, and if Lee Grant says that he's got 2 number ones rather than a number 1 and a number 2, then he has to pick the one who's playing quite well in goal. So for me, I know Lee Nichols offers a little bit less than Goodman with the ball at his feet, but I think Nichols has done well. I thought he played well against Man City. I thought he played very well in the, I think which game it was, the previous one. That's a proper cop-out, isn't it? He's played, for me anyway, Lee Nichols has played fairly well recently. Didn't have it was Burton, of course it was Burton. It was just last week. He made those saves in the first half. That save he made in the first half against Burton was unbelievable. So for me, Lee Nichols stays in. I'm setting the case up, Killer, for Lee Nichols. I don't think it means Owen Goodman's a waste of space or a waste of time, or we shouldn't sign him. Absolutely not. I think he's a good young goalkeeper, and he'll come again at some point. But for me, Lee Nichols keeps his place.
It's a bit like when Joe Taylor was scoring for fun all of 2 games ago, and we had the argument and discussion about should Alfie May come straight back in. And for me, Alfie May this week is a different question to back then. But I felt Joe Taylor played himself into a position where you couldn't drop him. It wouldn't be fair for him. And I think that's the same with Lee Nichols at the moment. If it is, like you say, a fair fight for the number one jersey, Lee Nichols has done nothing but prove his case to kind of earn it. I don't think he'll start though, Matt. I think Goodman will come in because I think if Nichols was going to keep his spot, he wouldn't have started against Man City. I think that tells you where Grant's looking at this weekend. Unfortunately,
he's played in the other cup games, hasn't he? He's played in the other cup games, and he was quite consistent with Nichols, Wallace, Sorensen, Rowan, etc. So we'll see. I'll be very disappointed in Grant's management if he doesn't pick Goodman and makes a lot of saves and will win the game, obviously. But I reserve the right to be fickle. But I think the right move for me is Lee Nichols. But we've got 2 good goals. Right back. It sounds like Lyndon Gooch won't be quite ready in time, so I think Sorensen will continue. I thought Sorensen was very good against Man City up until he just let Savinho have a second too long, didn't he? He just a little bit. I thought he was excellent until that point. I felt for Lass a little bit because he gets a lot of stick from town fans, and I've met him before outside. He's such a good, decent bloke, and someone you want to do well. When they're good characters, you want them to do well. And he's played I think he's played fairly well recently. I think there's more to come from him. I know he's not the strongest in possession, but I think he will start. And the left back will be Sean Rowan. I thought Rowan was excellent when he came on against Burton. I thought that was, funnily enough, probably his up until Man City, probably his best performance for Town, and he's doubled it up with a good performance against Man City. So maybe we argued about Sean Rowan playing his way into form as well. I think currently maybe he's doing that now, Killer. That's a game and a half, isn't it, of decent performances from Sean Rowan. So again, it's the same thing, isn't it? You have to, if a player's playing himself into form, it's not the right time to take him out, is it?
Not at all. And Matt, as mentioned previously, I felt Sean Rowan was suffering with Ruben Ruskin playing in front of him. And to me, it's no surprise without that. And it's not just Ruskin as an individual. I think that the lopsidedness with him in was so much, it made it quite a difficult role playing that left-back gig. And now it's quite different without Ruskin in. And again, it's not just down to Ruskin's own abilities and his own performance in that role. I think the team shifted somewhat, and I think it's really helped Rowan because he's been great the last couple of games. And Sorensen, Matt, looks a total different player this season. It's really nice to see. And like when you're a kid, and there was always an award at the end of season football for most improved player that went to the guy that were awful. Yeah, well, you must have been awful. Everyone knew you were awful, and then year after you weren't quite as awful. I feel like in professional football,
I have to clear this one up, mate. I won that because I should have been the player of the year that year, but I didn't get it because they gave it to one whose mum had died that season as player of the year because he continued through it all. So he quite rightly deserved that, and I got the booby prize. But
I think I just
and he deserved
it, Matt, didn't I? I think I just
should have been a joint one, but no, he deserved it.
Nothing like letting things go, is there? But no, Sorensen this year is that guy. Last year he looked like somebody you couldn't believe, maybe not to Ladapo levels, but he looked like somebody you were thinking, how was he ever rated at Lincoln? Like, I just didn't really get it. Yet this year, having a bit more license, I guess, to get forward and a little less heavy work defensively, although to be fair, he put a bit of a shift in yesterday. He's so much better, and it's really nice to see because he looks like a really nice guy. I think sometimes you see footballers that are out of form and the body language is a bit awful, and you kind of, not that you feel sorry for them or you feel sorry for Sorensen, but you're kind of not with them on their journey to try and redeem themselves. But with Sorensen, I think everybody wants him to do better. It's just nice that he is doing now. I don't really know. I don't particularly know why, because it's not like we're asking for too much different from him on that side. But for whatever reason, he looks
it's a settling
so
period,
much
isn't it, mate?
season.
You see that so much where someone signs for someone new and it takes a while to settle in, and then second season they do a lot better. I know they say second season syndrome is usually for someone who's had a good year and then second year, but sometimes it just takes a while to bed in, doesn't it, and comfortable in your surroundings, and it's good to see him doing that. Josh Feeney for me, first defender on the team sheet at the minute. I think he's. Do you know when we signed it? I had a chat. I'll name check David Hartrick in here. When we signed Josh Feeney, I think it was just before we'd signed Jack Watmore, wasn't it? So when we signed him, I was a little bit disappointed in the signing because it felt like. Why was I disappointed? So I was disappointed because it felt like he was coming into play alongside Lowe, and he'd had that spell at Shrewsbury where he was kind of like, yeah, and the Shrewsbury fans had said he's all right, he's not great. And when a Shrewsbury fan's kind of saying that, and you got relegated, you sort of thinking, oh well, this can't be amazing. But in pre-season, he was brilliant, wasn't he? When he came in pre-season, and he fortunately had that first game suspension because he would have probably started. But for me, he was awesome against Man City. I thought it was really good, and he's so composed for a 20-year-old centre back, isn't he? He's just so nicely poised and composed, and I really like. He has a really bad habit of heading the ball into dangerous areas, but
Yes.
a 20-year-old will stop doing that. And I just think by the end of this season, if he keeps playing, he is going to be one of the best defenders in the league. I really am quite high on Josh Feeney, and I'm really pleased that I was talking bollocks in the summer. Do you know, when I thought he was going to be rubbish? I was a lot happier when we signed Jack Watmore because then I understood that he wasn't there to be, first pick, etc. And the guy who was okay or mediocre at Shrewsbury, as it was put to me, wasn't going to be the one leading the player charge. But absolute nonsense. That he's been phenomenal. A really good signing, Josh Feeney, and he's one of those where you look at it and go, maybe if Aston Villa have a couple of FFP issues at the end of the season, maybe we could slide a cheeky offer in, kind of thing. Because I think he's going to have a good career. Premier League, I'm not sure, but definitely a Championship level player, and I think he'll be a Championship level player within the next 18 months at the rate he's going. He plays alongside Joe Lowe for me, mate. How do you see that?
It has to. Feeney's been fantastic all season for me. I think you can look at every other centre back we've got and pinpoint errors that they've made, and the pretty big errors. With Feeney, I think he's sometimes a little bit slow getting rid of the ball, but he's still always trying to be progressive. He's clever. He's the athlete you need next to somebody like Joe Lowe and Murray Wallace. He's the guy that needs to play with him. This is what we spoke about before. We didn't want Wallace there next to Lowe because both of them kind of do the same thing, whereas Feeney plays that Jack Watmore role a bit better than Jack Watmore does nowadays, where he's positionally spot on defensively and he makes things look easy. And that's the thing with your centre backs. The better centre backs, you don't actually see them do the work. Oh, do you know what? After Balker coming in and everyone calling him a Rolls Royce, for some reason I'm still yet to discover.
Should we go with a Bentley? Bentley's are nice. We'll go with one of those.
That's better. Maybe that's less triggering. I feel like I'm less triggered from that one. But no, I think Feeney's fantastic. And against Emily in pre-season, him and Sean Rowan stood out. And that was ridiculous against a lot of very, very amateur players. But just the way they played the ball, even then, Feeney looked something, I won't say special yet. That's going too far, but different. And looks like a proper defender of a Premier League ilk in the way they have the ball and look to play it out. I like him a lot. I rate him a lot. I think bar his heading, like you say, back into danger, which is what you can do at junior level, which is what you can do at Premier League 2 level. But when you get into adult football, it's a little bit different. He'll learn and he'll adapt.
Yeah,
and the Shrewsbury thing, Matt, you've got to ignore that because they're under pressure all game, every game. It's really difficult to look at a centre-back in that kind of condition and think, are they any good? It's hard when the ball's pelted at you all the time. He was playing in a back three as well, whereas now he's more of a standard back two centre-back, which he was at Aston Villa. So no, he's been good and has to start, like you say. Of all the back five, he's the one I'd start first over them all.
Yeah, same. He's in form. It's like I say, you got to pick your form players, haven't you? And Feeney looks like he's in form. Low, his form's a little up and down within the same game, but I mean, to coin Neil Wayne, you need to start building partnerships, don't you, in the team? So for me, Joe Lowe and Feeney's probably our best partnership at the minute. When Jack Watmore's back, we'll see. But I think at the minute, Feeney and Lowe's the one for me. So we're moving on. We've got problems in midfield, haven't we, because of all the injuries. I've seen it suggested that maybe we could drop Ben Wiles in. I've seen Ben Wiles play in that role before, and it's he's not particularly strong at it. I think it's going to be Kasumu and Ledson, isn't it? I don't really see any difference there. Dan Vost has done that. His chances absolutely no harm at all. I thought he did quite well at Man City. I know he didn't touch the ball as much as what a lot of midfielders would have done in that game, but his attention to detail, his discipline was excellent in that game. Obviously, if you've got the Patreon membership, you can listen to us on TTC Extra Time talk about him and Kasumu in that midfield in that game. But he probably makes the bench for me, does Dan Vost, and I think that'll be reward enough for what he's done. I think Wiles comes in at 10 for me on this one because I'm picking Alfie May up front. I think I think when he came on against Man City, Alfie May and Burton, you saw what we've been missing in that front area in terms of the press and the linking. He's so much better than everyone else we've got, just intelligently dropping into places and bringing other people into play. I feel like it's time to stop. Basically, we've gone out and signed the best striker in this league of the last 4 years. Maybe last year, maybe not. Stansfield will probably be the one, but definitely the previous 2 years. And it feels like we're not getting the best out of him because we're not playing him where he's at his best. So for me, play Alfie May up front, Joe Taylor on the bench, and Ben Wiles tends to go quite well with Alfie May. I think they link quite well together. Certainly better than what Wiles and Taylor do. Although Castledine and Taylor seem to play quite well together as well. So it's about partnerships like we mentioned before. So for me, Wiles goes in with May. I think Harness continues on the right hand side. I know there's some pushback on Harness from town fans, and I agree. I don't think he's been amazing so far, but he's basically Lee Grant's foot soldier, isn't he? He's the guy who knows how everything works in this system because he's been through it for a couple of years at Ipswich with Lee Grant. Lee Grant used to do the attack at Ipswich. We'll not forget, and Marcus Harness was a key part in that, or at least he knows how that all fits together. So he's kind of, I was saying to Pozza earlier today, he's kind of like in lieu of a target man is Marcus Harness. You need someone in the final third who makes the ball stick, and that's basically his job. He doesn't get a lot of goals, he doesn't get a lot of assists, but what he does is he gives you an entry point into the final third, and that we didn't quite have when Castledine played on the right hand side against Burton, and it wasn't until we switched things around that kind of happened. Ruben Ruskin's going to play on the left wing, mate, and it's gonna probably trigger us both. But Will Alves is injured. I can see Ruskin coming back in, and you going, no, Ruskin and Rowan again. I would probably keep Redmond on the left, personally, but I've just got this sneaky feeling that Ruskin will come back in on the left wing and he'll probably have a good game and shut me and you up for a couple of weeks.
I hope he does. I hope he does, Matt, because I don't think he will. I don't think he will at this point. But no, back to your centre midfielders. I think he's going to have to be, like you say, with Ledson and Kasumu. I to be fair, Matt, I probably would go with Wiles in one of those two positions had he not played 90 minutes on Wednesday night. I actually don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll start this weekend. I think if he were going to start, they'd have made that substitution. With the substitutions that were made in that game, it was pretty clear. It was looking. I say looking forward to Saturday, and Wiles wasn't one of the guys taken off. So I'm expecting Castledine to start in the 10. But for me, I'd have gone with Kasumu and Wiles next to each other with Castledine in front of him, just because of the way Exeter play, which is passy. I think a high press here would work. And with the best press we've got is when Wiles is in there as well. And I think you could have swapped him with Castledine at times just to help triggering that press. And now it's very out of the box and not anything like we're going to get. But I just think when you've got Alfie May up there with Wiles, we are our best. But I don't think you can not play Castledine either because he's been great these last few games. I know he wasn't fantastic against Man City or out wide against Burton, but generally when he's down the middle, he looks really, really useful. And I like playing my players that can create things, and I think he can. So to leave him out, I just wouldn't like to do it. And if it was him over Harness, I personally would go with that. But you are right. That hook role that Harness plays is really important to Lee Grant, and the way Town go about trying to attack. Like you say, Matt, it controls how we attack in that final third. It's not the target man in that he wins all the flick-ons, but he decides kind of how we go forward, which is quite strange for a guy out wide. But I think you described it once as a hook, kind of inside forward, and that's.
You know, I've stolen that from. It's a South American phrase. Is the hook? I'll remember what the actual role of it is. It'll come to me. I've played in a Football Manager to know, but it'll come to me.
Well, I enjoy it. I enjoy the use of it. But you're right, Ruskin will start on that wide left. And to be fair, Matt, in this game against Exeter, we'll try and play it out at the back. Ruben Ruskin is right for that because he does win the ball back high. And like you say, Alpha May as a 9 has to be the way forward, not just for tomorrow, not just for Saturday, but every other game for the rest of the season. Because when he plays as our 9, we are a total different outfit. Now, that's no shade on Joe Taylor. It's just the way in which Alfie May plays sets the precedent for everybody else behind him, and we look a total different outfit. If Alfie May's fit, any league game this season, for me, he has to start down the middle. Don't put him out of place to play somebody else there, because an 80% effective Alfie May doesn't win you top 2 in this division. But playing him as a 9 can do. It's that important for me, and I think for Town, to play Alfie May up top.
Enganche. That's what it is. Enganche. That basically it's a role. When you pick your number 10s on Football Manager, an enganche is basically a number 10 that doesn't move, and it refers to a hook, I think, in that everything rotates around it rather than the number 10, like a trequartista or a 3/4. You learn that if you listen to Sherlock and Co. Adam Jarrell's brilliant podcast. It goes on about that recently. A trequartista or a traditional 10. Basically, they move around looking for space. Trequartista sort of roams around looking for it. An enganche or a hook just stands there, basically, and everyone moves around him. So that like Lyndon Dykes. Lyndon Dykes is a really good example of that last season at Birmingham. But anyway, enough of the geeky stuff. Let's have a look at Exeter. So Exeter have played a couple of different systems this season. So they've played 4-4-2, they've played 3-5-2, they played 3-4-3. They've kind of moved around, and I've been looking at them, and there's no. So they don't really match the other team up either. So it's not a case of matching up. So I think it's sort of a tactical quirk that I've not quite worked out with them yet. Obviously, I don't sit there watching videos of Exeter City because I've got better things to do with my time. No offense, Exeter fans. But I think they'll play 3-4-2-1 on this occasion, basically because Bradford City gave that blueprint a couple of weeks ago. It's the same system Bradford did. We struggle, our defensive midfielders struggle with these guys here. If you're looking, basically it's the 2 number 10s, which will cause us all sorts of problems. So the way Exeter will go, Joe Whitworth's back in goal, killer, Whitworth sugar. So we basically waxed lyrical about him before the home game last year, and then he played shite after we said how good he was. But he is a really good young goalkeeper. Him and Goodman are the 2 really good young keepers that Crystal Palace have got. Whitworth was rated higher than Goodman about 18 months ago, but Goodman, I think, has since usurped him a little bit. The back 3 is interesting because I don't really know them that particularly well. So there's Ed Turns, Fitzwater. What a name, Fitzwater. He's basically, so he plays in the middle of the back 3, and he is the highest rated Exeter player so far this season on FotMob. If you ever look at FotMob, it's a really good stats website, which also you can look at it during the game because it gives you all the latest scores and what minute they're in, etc. So it's a decent little website. You can go on. I know not the top 20 use it quite a lot as well, but basically he's the highest rated player on there. Is Mr. Fitzwater. So he is. So just looking at him, you see in League One, you see quite a lot of players that come from Scotland and do quite well, don't you? And he's another one of them. So he's played over 100 games for Livingston, but he has been at Exeter for a couple of years, and I've not really noticed him. I'll be honest, he's not really come up on my radar before. He's only played 40 games, but prior to that, he had a spell at Walsall on loan, and he came through West Brom's youth academy. So there we go. So that's Jack Fitzwater. The left-sided centre back here. There's a couple that could be actually, but I think they're going to go with Turns, who plays there. And the right-sided centre back will be Pierce Sweeney. He's been there for 10 years, maybe. Let's have a quick check. 9 years he's been there, and he's coming up to 400 appearances for Exeter. So a stalwart of Exeter's defence is Pierce Sweeney. Was he the one last year where he came and he looked really fat? Is he that one? He looked
he's a
really
meathead.
white.
Absolute meathead. And they refer. I love nicknames. My thing in professional football is listening to what people's nicknames are for each other. I absolutely love it. He's got an original Sweens, as Caldwell kept calling him. And he's been injured recently. He's back in. Yeah, so Sweens he's back. But yes, he's the guy that may not look the most in shape at times, although he does now, to be fair, because he's been injured. I think he must have been putting a bit in at the gym. But he's, as Caldwell said, an Exeter team with Sweens in is the best Exeter team it can be at that moment. So he is very important for them.
Fair enough. Ed Turns will play left-sided centre-back. He's come through Brighton's academy. Decent player at 22 years of age. The wing backs will be interesting. Our mate's going to be one of them, and you're going to know who I'm referring to there. I think Jack McMillan will play on the right. He scored against us back in April. He usually plays central midfield, but he has on occasion played right wing back, and I think he might be the one that they turn to on this occasion. The two midfielders will be Ethan Brierley, who they've got from Brentford. I think he was the Brentford B captain, and then Doyle Hayes will partner him in midfield. And the left is Arman Niskanen, who is their most creative player. So he's the top assister with 3, and he's created 10 chances this season. So they'll be looking to get the ball out to him on the left and cross the ball in. The two who'll cause us a little bit of a headache, I think, on the day in the attacking midfield role are probably going to be Sonny Cox and Jack Aitchison, I would imagine. But they do have Jaden Wareham, who was a former Reading Academy player, and he played against us last year for Reading as well. He potentially could come into that. And Josh McGuinness, everyone knows Josh McGuinness, I think, big strong striker who's got a lot of caps for Northern Ireland. Walshy, who you'll see on Down at the Mac, knows him personally because they played in Northern Ireland schoolboys together when they were 16. So I'll get Walshy on the pod at one point. He can tell us about Josh McGuinness, or Jack. So I think that's how they'll line up. So just a couple of things about Exeter themselves. So they're 15th for goals per match in the league. So in terms of league position, they're 15th with 1.1. Town are 3rd on 1.7. Town were top until the Burton game. The 9th for goals conceded per match, which isn't too bad. Average possession 10th at 51%. So like you said, they do like to keep the ball, but 25% of their passes do tend to be long balls as well. So they do like to switch it quite a lot to Exeter. So it's probably a little similar to us, pass, switch. Their XG has them in 14th. The 17th, though, for shots on target at 3.2, where Town are 2nd. 12th for big chances created. And rather tellingly, they're second bottom for the most touches in the opponent's box. So they tend not to get into the opposition's danger zone too much. So that's Exeter City. Killer, what's the score going to be?
We have to win this one. We have to win. With the fixtures coming up and with a little bit of turning in fan happiness, fan enjoyment over the last couple, especially Burton, I think we have to win, Matt. I'll go 2-0 Town, but I won't be putting a lot of money on it. Put it that way. But 2-0 Town, 2-0 Town win with Alfie May double. That's what I'll go with.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. So Brad went for an Exeter win. So the Exeter guys is backing his own team, which is fine.
Well, that's amazing. That is amazing, right? Because in the last home game against Port Vale, right, in the league, they booed them off at half time. And now anybody that boos off a team at half time, who then predicts in the game afterwards that we might Huddersfield Town, with their amazing away form, come to Town to predict a home win, I think is brave. I think that's very, very brave.
It is a proper fan. That's what fans do. As the week goes on, you get into it more, don't you? And you think we can win this, don't you? And then when Saturday comes around, it's like, oh no, we're going to lose. So it's you kind of get, as the game gets closer, you kind of building up and looking forward to it. And then when it kicks off, you're like, oh yeah, these lot. But I'm going to go draw on this one. I just think Town are in a bit of a hole at the minute. I don't think we're playing particularly well. Man City was different. This game, I just find Town a little bit clunky at the moment. I think there's a lot of things to work out. I don't think the centre of the park works particularly well with Kasumu and Ledson. I think that'll lead to a lack of creation. Harness is a little bit out of form. Will Alves is a miss. A lot depends on how we work up front, and I've just got this sort of bad feeling that Lee Grant will start with Taylor and put May in attacking midfield again, and it'll just be a little bit clunky and not work, rather than put Alfie May where he should be. So I'm going to go 1-1, but I really want to say Huddersfield will win the game, but I just think it's going to be a bit of a. I just feel like it's going to be a Sunday when we're doing the review, and we're just going to be annoyed again because we should have won a game which we haven't, and I just think we're just going through a phase of that at the moment. I think we'll come out of it, but I just think at the moment we're in an awkward phase and we'll probably get awkward results, but it's not to say that we can't come out the other side. But so that's what I'm going for. Killer says Town win, I say draw, and Brad says Exeter win. So we've got everything across the board. How will it go? Well, tune in on Sunday night for the review show, and we will talk you through how everything happened. So thanks everybody for joining and listening to this episode. And remember, sign up for the Patreon, www.takesthatchance.com, and we'll do some giveaways when we get to 1,000.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.